For most of its history, Europe has been a battlefield. Empires rose, borders collapsed, and wars redrew the map again and again. The Romans, Napoleon, the Nazis, two world wars that pulled almost every European country into total destruction. And right in the middle of it all, there was Switzerland, not conquered, not occupied, not invaded, for more than 500 years. And that wasn't luck, it was strategy. Why Switzerland hasn't been invaded for 500 years? Ask most people why Switzerland survived untouched, and you'll hear the same explanation. Neutrality. Switzerland doesn't take sides. It hosts peace talks. It's home to the Red Cross, the United Nations, and global diplomacy. And that's true. Switzerland formally declared neutrality in 1815 after the Napoleonic Wars. Since then, it has avoided military alliances and foreign wars. But here's the problem. Neutrality has never stopped an army. Belgium was neutral. So was the Netherlands. So was Denmark. All of them were invaded. History doesn't spare neutral countries. It spares useful ones. So neutrality alone can't explain why Switzerland survived while Europe burned. To understand that, we need to look at the terrain. At first glance, Switzerland looks small, but invading it is another story. Nearly 60% of the country is covered by the Alps. Steep mountains, narrow passes, unpredictable weather, and limited supply routes. Armies don't move easily here. Tanks slow down, convoys stretch thin, air support becomes unreliable. An invading force can't spread out. It's funneled into a handful of mountain passes, where defenders can predict exactly where the attack will come from. And once winter hits, logistics collapse. Food, fuel, ammunition, everything becomes harder to move uphill, and snow under fire. But geography alone still isn't enough. Afghanistan has mountains. So does Italy. So does Greece. They were invaded anyway. Switzerland didn't just have mountains. It weaponized them. Switzerland's real secret isn't peace. It's preparation. Unlike most countries, Switzerland never outsourced its defense to a professional army alone. Instead, it built a system where the entire population becomes the army. Military service is mandatory. Swiss men are trained as soldiers and remain part of the military reserve well into adulthood. For decades, they kept their weapons at home. That means any invading force wouldn't face one army. It would face millions of trained civilians. But Switzerland went even further. Bridges, tunnels, highways, and mountain passes were pre-rigged with explosives. Entire valleys were designed to collapse if invaded. The plan was simple. If Switzerland couldn't be defended, it would be destroyed. An enemy might take land, but they wouldn't be able to use it. Railways would vanish. Roads would collapse. Supply routes would disappear. Invading Switzerland meant conquering a country that would literally self-destruct beneath you. This wasn't theoretical. These plans were real. They were rehearsed. And everyone knew it, especially Nazi Germany. During World War II, Switzerland was surrounded. Germany to the north, Italy to the south, occupied France to the west, Austria to the east. On paper, Switzerland should have fallen immediately, and Hitler did consider invading. The plan was called Operation Tannenbaum. German generals studied it closely, but every calculation reached the same conclusion. Invading Switzerland would be expensive. The terrain would slow the army. The population would resist. The infrastructure would collapse. And the prize? No oil, no ports, no major industrial advantage. Just mountains and losses. Switzerland wasn't neutral because it was harmless. It was neutral because it was too costly to conquer. In war, that's often enough. There was another layer to Switzerland's survival. Money. Switzerland became economically useful to everyone. It served as a financial hub, a banking center, and a neutral intermediary between enemies who otherwise couldn't talk to each other. Gold passed through Swiss banks. Trade routes relied on Swiss stability. Diplomatic channels depended on Swiss neutrality. Destroying Switzerland didn't just cost military resources. It disrupted the entire European system. That made invasion unattractive, even irrational. Switzerland wasn't just defended by guns and mountains. It was defended by incentives. This is the part most people miss. Switzerland didn't survive by avoiding conflict. It survived by making conflict pointless. Every potential invader faced the same equation. High cost, low reward, no clean victory. And that equation still exists today. Switzerland maintains one of the most extensive bunker networks on Earth. Its military doctrine still focuses on deterrence, not expansion. Its neutrality is backed by force, not idealism. In other words, Switzerland isn't peaceful because it trusts the world. It's peaceful because it planned for the worst version of it. In a century defined by rising tensions, broken alliances, and renewed great power competition, Switzerland offers a strange lesson. You don't survive history by being invisible. You survive by being unavoidable. Too hard to conquer, too useful to destroy, and too prepared to intimidate. Switzerland wasn't ignored by war. It engineered its way around it.